Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. We are back with more Macau, as we will be all week, frankly. It is, of course, Macau Grand Prix weekend, and we are continuing our look at every Macau Grand Prix winner from 1962 to 2022. We have looked at every winner from 1962 to 1982 previously, and now as we move into the 80s, there will hopefully be more pictures available and information about the races easier to find. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the Macau videos coming out this week, including part 3 of this series, the annual crash compilation, shorts, and maybe other stuff depending on time and motivation. With that, let's jump into part 2 of the What Happened to Every Macau Grand Prix Winner Ever series. 1983 Ayrton Senna. Little known Brazilian Ayrton Senna won both legs of the 1983 Macau Grand Prix. Racing for current BMW BTCC team West Surrey Racing, he beat Roberto Guerrero and Gerhard Berger to take a glorious win at Macau. He also won the British Formula 3 title that same year and would launch into one of the greatest Formula 1 careers of anyone ever, racing for Tolman, Lotus, McLaren and Williams. But you've probably heard this story before. 1984 John Nielsen. The Dane is more known for his sports car success, but began his career in single-seaters, winning at Macau in 1984 ahead of Stefan Johansson and Mike Fackwell. The former Renault F1 test driver would race in the inaugural International F3000 series, but pivoted into sports cars, where he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1990 alongside Martin Brundle and Price Cobb, and later the BPR Global Series and Japan Grand Touring Championship in the mid-90s. 1985 Maricio Golman. Very much followed in the footsteps of fellow Brazilian Ayrton Senna, but things did not work out quite so well for Golman. He won the British Formula 3 Championship and the Macau Grand Prix in the same year. An interesting Macau Grand Prix with Formula 1 race winner René Arnoux in the field. Golman's career didn't match Senna's thereafter, had a half-decent season in International F3000, followed by a few years in Formula 1 with Leighton House and Jordan, then took a single win in the kart series. 1986 Andy Wallace. Another driver more known for sports car success, Andy Wallace won at Macau in 1986 and went on to win every major sports car race going, winning Le Mans with Jaguar in 1988, followed by several races at Daytona and Sebring, as well as for Petit Le Mans. In the modern day, he took a Bugatti Chiron to a record 300 miles per hour. Understated career, but very good. 1987 Martin Donnelly. If there was a driver who never lived up to the promise, it was Martin Donnelly. Finishing 3rd overall in the British F3 twice, he won the Macau Grand Prix, took wins in the International F3000. He then went on to start one race for Arrows in 1989 and most of the season with Lotus in 1990. He had a huge crash at Jerez that effectively ended his career. He's made his comeback here and there, including for BTCC, but never lived up to that Macau Grand Prix win. 1988 Enrico Patagia. The former Italian Formula 3 champion somehow beat Damon Hill at Macau in 1988. He would then do nothing in International F3000, signed for Coloni in Formula 1, never qualified for a race, joined Andrea Moda before departing before even getting close to trying to qualify for a race. He'd turn up here and there like a few drivers in the Super Tourenwagen Cup, but otherwise, not much. 1989 David Brabham. Survived rather than won might be the right word for this Macau victory. Only 10 cars finished the race. Not even Michael Schumacher or Mika Hakkinen made it to the end. We went over this recently, but disappointment in Formula 1 with Brabham and Syntec, success in touring cars and sports cars, started car business. 1990 Michael Schumacher. The German legend came back a year later and won at Macau, beating future teammates Mika Salo and Eddie Irvine. He went on to win 7 Formula 1 titles. You don't need to hear it from me, but his early career was interesting, winning sports car races for Sauber, failing to score points in DTM, winning the German Formula 3 title. It does not prepare you for the absolute domination of Formula 1 he would go on to have. 1991 David Coulthard. Chins won Macau in 1991, and to be honest, it was one of the few things he would win in his career. 2nd in British F3 in 1991, 3rd in International F3000 in 1993, Formula 1 with Williams, McLaren and Red Bull, taking 12 wins but finishing 3rd overall 4 times and runner-up once in 2001. Then a few years of DTM before retirement. He's a pundit nowadays and he annoys me so much. 1992 Ricard Ryell. I haven't talked about Swedish driver Ricard Ryell all that much on this channel, but when I was a kid I was obsessed with him. Poster over the bed and all. Don't know why. I met him once, I guess. I was like 7 or 8. I was too scared to speak to him. Single-seaters didn't work out for Ryell, and within a couple of years he joined Volvo in the BTCC, winning the title in 1998. He'd be a regular in the World Touring Cars until he retired after 2016. 1993, Jorg Muller. I don't know how Jorg Muller never made it to Formula 1, he has the right CV for it. Macau Grand Prix in 1993, German Formula 3 champion in 1994, International F3000 in 1996. You'd think a Minardi or an Arrows would love a Jorg Muller on board after that. Well, he was a test driver for Arrows and Sauber, but was the only F3000 champion at the time to never make it to Formula 1. But he would have a successful career in sports cars and touring cars, especially with BMW. 1994, Sasha Masson. I think competent but not flashy is the best way to describe Sasha Masson. He won Macau ahead of such racing luminaries as Kelvin Burt and Jan Magnussen, and would pivot into touring cars and sports cars in the years after, never finding much success outside of a class win in the American Le Mans Series. 1995, Ralf Schumacher. The second Schumacher on this list, just 5 years after his brother Michael, he lost the German Formula 3 title race to Norberto Fontana and went to Japan in 1996 winning the Formula Nippon title. He had a semi-successful time in Formula 1 with Jordan, Williams and Toyota, taking 6 wins, and he'd retire after a few years in the DTM, taking a single win. 1996, Ralf Ferman. Irishman Ralf Ferman won the Macau Grand Prix in 1996, same year he won the British Formula 3 title. After this, his career seemed to come to a stop for a few years, racing in Japan, taking 7 wins in Formula Nippon before finally taking the title at the 6th attempt in 2002. He got a brief go in Formula 1 with Jordan, scoring 1 point, before fleeing back to Japan in the Super GT series, winning it in 2007 alongside Daisuke Ito. 1997, Sahil Ayari. The Frenchman was eventually successful with sports car racing, but his single-seater career was a bit of a slog. He won 2 international F3000 races, but never finished higher than 5th overall. He's won several French touring car championships and some sports car series. Now in his 50s, he races less and less. 1998, Peter Dumbreck. The 1998 Japanese F3 and Macau Grand Prix winner was Peter Dumbreck. He'd win some DTM and Super GT races here and there, finished 3rd in class at Le Mans and Aston in 2013. 1999, Darren Manning. Wow, there were some pretty mid-British drivers knocking around at this time. Darren Manning somehow beat Jenson Button to win Macau in 1999. Like Dumbreck, he also won in Japanese Formula 3 that same year. Like Dumbreck, he didn't do much after. A couple of really average years in F3000, several really average years in IndyCar, pretty much disappeared by the time Jenson Button won the F1 title. 2000, Andre Koto. The first home driver to win the Macau Grand Prix, it was a bit of a fluke due to weather, but Koto survived when people like Takuma Sato and Irene Kartikeyan did not. But he was a good driver with a few years of international F3000 behind him. He'd be a regular in Super GT for the next 2 decades, winning the secondary GT300 crown in 2015. 2001, Takuma Sato. The popular Japanese driver took the Macau win at the 2nd attempt, beating future fellow F1 drivers Yuji Ida, Anthony Davidson, Heikki Kovalainen, Tiago Montero and Sakon Yamamoto. Sato would move on to Formula 1 with Jordan, BAR and Super Aguri, before heading to IndyCar and winning the Indy 500 twice. 2002, Tristan Gendi. Frenchman Tristan Gendi was the winner in a pretty weak year for Macau, beating Heikki Kovalainen and 2010 Super GT champion Takashi Kaguri. His single-seater career never went beyond GP2, and whilst he took a podium at Le Mans, he was hardly a sports car superstar. Average career that ended with runs in European Le Mans and random GT races. So that is all for part 2. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on part 3, covering 2003 to 2022. Leave your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.